Carrrnversations.
You guys, welcome to today's Carrrnversations, and we are talking. I'm with Ushaga. I didn't introduce you last time.
Hello, it's fine.
We're talking relationships and the people that we surround ourselves with, the importance of those people. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever surrounded yourself with somebody and then realized this person's bad for me?
So when I said the relationship, I knew something like that would come up. I have.
Okay.
But me, now I don't believe in the cutting people.
Okay.
Why? I'm not saying keep toxic people around, but I'm saying I don't, because I believe everyone serves a certain role, regardless. I've had toxic people, but obviously my first reaction to that would be distancing myself. Now it doesn't mean, but how I react around you, the energy that I give off says, listen,
it's not happening
it's
anymore.
not happening anymore.
But what I wanted to ask you was, have you ever experienced yourself in a space where you like this person, but then you realize like you're on your way, like we're on our way to hell.
That's
right
difficult.
Now.
That's difficult. Yes, I have. And that's tough. That's tough because it really boils down to, who do you prioritize the most? You or this relationship or the person that you love? And obviously, if you're a sane person, you're going to choose yourself. And that then means there needs to be adjustments. And part of the adjustments means
cutting people off. I think when it comes to relationships, which are so important, by the way, so important. I call them, I say in my workshops, I say the development of who we are happens in 3 villages. You have we say it takes a village to raise a child, and I say there are 3 big villages. Your first village is your home, uncles, aunts, cousins, sisters, brothers, whoever is in that environment. Your initial one. I think this is a little bit stemming from Bronfenbrenner's ecological pyramid, but anyway, I call it, just to simplify it, the first village is family. Your second village is your school environment, the friends you make at school, your teachers, whoever. And then your third village is your friends, those people that and I always say, if the first 2 villages gets it right, the third village doesn't get a chance of taking you down. Right?
So the problem then becomes, the first 2.
The first 2 villages are so crucial and so important, because those are the first people. They set the tone of how relationships works. They set the tone of how we are to respond. They set a tone of who's bigger, me or the relationship, or those type of things. I think when it comes to friendships, people that we love but that are not good for us, friends that are draining. I've learned something, that this thing of Darius Daniels saying, we are such Darius Daniels
people.
We are such we quote him every time. But it's supposed now, he's
genius, but
right. It's Darius Daniels says we have to learn to put people in their place. Learn to put people in their place. Who can take you down and who can't? Who can I hear from? Who? In other words, where do I go to pour out and where do I go to be filled in? It's not everything where there has to be a reciprocation.
Sure.
Where do I go to go offer help? Where do I go to take advice? Where do I go to open myself up in certain ways? There's certain spaces, there's certain conversations I cannot have with certain people. One, you're not going to get it. Astrology, fun foremost, you're not going to get it. And if by some chance you do, you're going to give me such a flawed perspective back. And also a thing of I have to be very careful of how you see the world. Am I happy with how you see the world? Am I happy with where your life is at?
I always say, what do I say? Something about like I really take advice from people because I look at those people that kind of give me advice and where they at and where I want to be, and it's like
you mean well.
you mean well, but
we could both use this advice right now. Like I hear you giving out advice, but you and I need it.
So
We both need what you're saying, right? And where do I go to just be comforted? There are great people who are great at comforting.
yes,
And so you can't go to the person who gives you advice and expect them to comfort you if you get what I'm saying? So learning to put people in their place and learning to, I think for me, I knew myself well before I started having good friends.
okay,
So that then meant it was very difficult for someone to come and your
and play a
influence.
role. Yeah,
See, and I don't mean to be
Yeah.
some type of way, but Jesus had done like I come from a different gospel. For me, Jesus had solidified who he was in my life. And so Jay, if you came into my life and you were like I just saw it, when you just and that was now we're gonna fight.
Yeah.
That was immediately
so it was easy to put people in their place.
it was very
then.
easy to put people in the place because one,
Yo.
and if you didn't look like Jesus,
I'm gonna get that cheese burger.
if you didn't look
Oxa
when I was
para.
young, I would,
Oh, why did I bring that one up?
if you didn't look like you had a little bit of Jesus in you, just a little, like. And when I was young, it was small things. It was things like if you swore a lot, small things that I could recognize. Okay, you swear, I don't. Every time I hear it, it's gonna rub me off the wrong way. We can't be friends.
Sure.
Without even saying, but yeah, but there was also I was attracted to, or I tend to really move towards people who are really good.
Kind.
Who are really good, who are really kind, I was drawn to those people really because, by the way, the person that brought me to the Lord was because of their kindness first, and then but
Sure.
so that for me, I always represent, or I always associate kindness with Jesus type of thing. So, but going back to how relationships affect us and impact us, it really is a thing of putting people in their places, knowing who can say what about what's in my life, and knowing who I listen to and who do I take it wholeheartedly.
Sure.
And also being willing to be that for people.
Ooh.
You know, Maya Angelou says you want a good friend, be a good friend. So being willing to be that for people, and also really being open to relationships are seasonal.
Ooh. Some people are just here to serve us in
a certain season, and it's really not personal.
It's not personal.
If there's one thing that it's not personal, and seasonal in two ways. Some people are here to serve you for a season, but some people will serve you differently in certain
seasons of your life,
and learning to know how
and where to go to.
and where to go to.
Best relationship advice you ever gave me when I called you, I was like, I'm going through the most, was that compartmentalizing your friendships. I take that everywhere. You said I can't expect everything from one relationship. I need to know where to get what and how. And also that be the best friend so that you can get
the best each time. I think for me, I learned that. I learned that when I look at how different my friends were, but how necessary they were. I look at my friendship with Utobani, which is the longest. I've known Tobani since we were in grade 6.
Yeah.
We're almost in our 30s now. And I've known him for that long. And so, but it's changed. But it's definitely changed over the years.
Yeah.
It's definitely, and I go to Somani for perspective. I don't go to Somani to comfort me. Somani, what comforts is Somani ever going to offer me? It's the fact that he's going to offer me perspective, and through his perspective, I get comfort, right? But I have found he comes to me for comfort. You know, I've checked. But anyway, and then I look at my friendship with Lindo. There's a way Lindo speaks into my heart that no one can do that. No one can do that. And there's a way I feel at home with Uzesu that it's and those type of things is and there's a fun I have with Uzwi that it's not. It's
and the twins.
And there's a refreshing that the twins can do to my soul. And it really is. So now when we talk about issues of who's your best friend, for me is they are the best here.
At that.
So they're my best friend. They are the best at that, and they are. And so I learned that. I learned you're not gonna get everything from everybody. It's unfair to think that. But then it becomes a bit tricky in romantic relationships. Because I think we expect people to
all of that in one
person.
Ooh.
And if it's true, I mean, if you're not, and I just want to say something, and one of the things that when I speak of how do you heal parent-children relationships, it's firstly children understanding that you're not going to get everything from your parents. You think you will, and you think you're supposed to.
And that's the natural, it's an intrinsic reaction, man.
Right, so you think naturally supposed to get everything from your parents, but you're not. Because the whole thing of being human is I can only give you what I can only give you.
Like an offer. Yeah.
And so in romantic relationships,
do you then think, because our relationship with parents ought to be one of the most important, our failure of getting that from our parents, do you think we project that to our romantic relationships?
Oh, 1000%. Getting that and not getting that, we're going to project that into our relationships. But also just one thing, it then makes it takes a village to raise a child so important. Because it means what I couldn't get from my mom and my dad, Mhlambe auntie's got it. Umamncane got it. Umalume's got it.
Which is
Ugogo's got
the
it.
Village is, I like that.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I like that.
It's really, that's what we mean by, and so you are never without, for as long as there's a full human experience and everyone else is living out their full selves and everyone is moving healed and but even if they move in with their brokenness, that's the thing I love the most. I love the most about compartmentalizing people is that if you're really good at comforting me, it's a thing of even in your brokenness, you can still offer that because you're offering me who you are. You're offering me who you are. You're offering me who you are.
Sure.
You know? And I think now when it comes to romantic relationships, this is what I think, and I stand to be corrected. In the words of Ndi, I say this today, but if you wake me up next week, might have changed your mind. Might have changed my mind. Might believe in something completely different. And I think so in romantic relationships, what then happens is, okay, you have to move with, I'm not going to get everything from this person. But there are things I cannot do without that I should get from this person. Considering that I'm going to be with you for the rest of my life.
Primary things.
There are things I cannot do without.
Sure.
There are things that my soul cannot do without.
Which then makes it easy to be able to move out of that romantic relationship if surely your base, let's call them basic needs.
Yeah. Are not being met. Are not being met because this is then, I'm going to say something that I'm not sure about. This is then, I wonder, I'm going to say this thing. I'm going to say it, okay? I'm going to say it and I'm going to apologize later. You said something. You said, whatever we didn't find in our upbringing, do we then go and we look for it in our partners? And I say, whatever we didn't find and whatever we did find, we will go, because what your soul requires is what your soul requires. Even if you don't have the language to know what it is that it requires, it doesn't take away the need or that requirement or that call.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering that, so we know there's a lot of brokenness within the, I'm going to go back to within, well, with all human beings, but within the Black relationships, kakulu, and in Black parenting, there's a lot of brokenness there. So this means we raise children whose soul needs, let's call them soul needs, are not met.
Sure.
And so they get into these relationships already with these unmet soul needs. And just because it's not met doesn't take away the need. They learn to live with certain things. They settle on certain things to cover up for this need, but it doesn't take away the need. A lot of times it makes you resent the very thing that you settled for, thinking that it was going to replace the need, but it didn't, right? So we enter into these relationships. And I'm wondering that our issue with infidelity in Black relationships, I wonder if is it not caused by, we get in here thinking you're supposed to you're supposed to cover these soul needs, and you're not. So I go out looking at so many different places,
trying these different places,
because ultimately I'm trying to get
fill in the soul needs.
And now if I don't have a language for it,
I act it out and search,
and I'm not even sure what it is that I'm looking for.
You can't find what you don't know.
You can't find what you don't know, because then what are you looking for?
What are you looking for? You're going to constantly looking. I think the whole thing of self-awareness is so important.
I can't tell you. It is God. It is God. To be aware of self is to be aware of God. Because being aware of self is for me, for I, Miss Tulo, me. Being aware of self is being aware of, there's no way knowing myself like I know myself, I could have made it here by myself. Because I know myself, so I know that there must be a God in heaven. Knowing how flawed I am, knowing how much I cry, knowing how much how flawed and how short I am, how little I am, and knowing with some spaces I have entered there purely on God.
At the depth of self-awareness, you find God.
So beautiful. At the depth of self-awareness, you find God. And so when you are aware of self, you immediately know what works for you and what doesn't. You immediately go.
Navigating will be easy, because now it's like, Darius
Daniels once said, okay, if you don't know who Darius Daniels is, I'm sure by now you're gonna go look him up.
Uti, when your priorities are right, or when you say something, when your it's a priority, when your focus is right, it's easy to let go of things that are not yours.
Oh, so good. So good.
It up.
So good. I heard him say the other day, when you have clarity, you go faster, because now you know.
Gulula to eliminate.
Gulula, you are able. And I think I think it's true.
Sure.
Self-awareness helps us navigate our relationships better, because you know you. And I almost want to say it's easier
when your purpose is clear. It's easier to move, because if it doesn't serve your purpose, you have clarity, it's easy to move that thing.
Say, okay. And I think it's very hard to be deceived when you know yourself.
Oh, you can't fool anyone.
You know you. It's very hard to be deceived. It's very, very hard to be deceived. And now I understand why the opposition fights self-awareness so much, and why it puts on things that are not you and says, this is you, because it's like, so long as I can make you to not see you, then you won't be able.
And so long as you're struggling and seeing you for you won't be able to navigate around, because the devil can't, well, I'm saying he could be a she. the devil can't, if he can't mess up with your purpose emerges up with a perspective of yourself.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Because now,
Come on.
if I lie, if I get you to lie to yourself, then everything you see easily becomes a lie. Sure.
This is so good. This is so good. So area of relationships. I think number one, you're not gonna get everything from everyone, but you have to sit with yourself and know what does your soul need, and you have to now go and collect that from friends and then also getting to know what can your soul give. What can your soul give, and what do you give, and what do you give well, and being willing to give it all the time and wholeheartedly. And I just want to say this: sometimes it will inconvenience you to give, but you have to.
It's sharing.
Because you're sharing space.
So I almost want to say, we all are aware that it takes a village and it takes these different villages that you spoke about earlier. So we need to show up for our roles in village.
Come on. So, you are, if you're an aunt or an uncle,
show up.
If you're an aunt or an uncle, show up.
Sure.
If you're, and you know what? If you're an aunt or an uncle, you've got to show up, man. You've got to show up and play that thing. Play that thing when you're tired. Play that thing because it's. I loved it. Darius Daniel said, "You don't reap where you sow. You reap what you sow." So as you are showing out, you are showing up as in your full capacity in what you know your soul can give. We all know our areas of I'm good at giving this, and as you are showing up in that, your soul will never be without.
Because you're reaping.
Because you will reap elsewhere. There will always be in your area of need, your area of lack. There will be that to meet that need.
So maybe if you're not receiving what you would want to have, you need to question your giving.
Come on, my mentor would say sometimes, go give out what you need the most today. She'd say, I tell her, my day, this, and she'd say, go give out what you need. What do you need? Do you need love? Do you need joy? Go give it out.
Give it out. It's the principles.
That's principle.
It's principle.
So good. Such a good conversation.
Sure.
So good. Guys, by now, subscribe. I don't understand why you wouldn't. It's the fact that I don't understand. If you haven't subscribed, I don't understand why you wouldn't. Because this is life-changing stuff.
No.
This is life-changing stuff. And these are principles that I really try to live by. Really try to live by. When I really, especially the giving my soul correctly. That I try to live by. I've seen it. I have witnessed my soul is never without. I may be without in other areas, but my soul, not my soul.
Yeah.
I love you and thank you for watching.